Right now at noon, the city of Pittsburgh wants to extend tax to pay for equipment, staffing, and technology for the police and fire departments.
We've got mostly cloudy skies. We're continuing to warm up, but big changes on the way as we head into tonight and tomorrow morning. We'll break it all down coming up.
President Biden is in Poland, reiterating the U.S.'s support for Ukraine and their war with Russia.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
April elections will be here before we know it, and several communities will be deciding on tax issues for public safety or education. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, Pittsburgh residents will vote whether to continue a public safety sales tax on April 11th. The tax went into effect in March of 2014. The 0.5% tax goes towards the Pittsburgh police and fire departments for equipment, staffing, and technology.
Any purchases, sales tax that is generated in the city itself, if it's a current resident in Pittsburgh or a visitor to Pittsburgh, be it a college student or just somebody traveling through town, would benefit from that.
If renewed during April's special election, the tax would continue through 2033. The Carthage School Board met last night to discuss a bond proposal that's similar to one that's been on the ballot before. The $18 million bond would go toward funding a performing arts center and a baseball field. If approved, it would continue the current tax rate through the year 2040. Now, this bond issue will also be on the April ballot. When the Joplin City Council meets tonight, one item on the agenda will be the proposed B&B Theater at the southeast corner of 32nd Street and Hammonds Boulevard. If approved, the new theater will feature laser projection, heated leather recliners, a bar and grill, and an arcade. The decision for B&B to come to Joplin was easy.
It's pretty easy for us to say thanks but no thanks to a number of things. This is one, though, that raised a lot of eyebrows in our office, and I think one that we wanted to make work. And when we got a good look at what was going on, all of the explosive growth in that area with retail, hotels, residential, food and beverage, it was pretty obvious that a theatrical anchor would make.
Well, the total cost for the project is estimated at more than $33 million. Well, it's another spring-like day outside, and I am loving it. Chris Warner joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Yeah, well, these spring-like temperatures are quite nice. Still got some gusty winds out there, but unfortunately, spring-like temperatures sometimes leads to storms. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line. We've got mostly cloudy skies in Joplin. We are talking about the possibility of some strong to possibly severe storms. We have an elevated risk for tomorrow morning for those highlighted in yellow. Right now, the primary threat is damaging straight line winds. However, an isolated tornado or two cannot be ruled out. Now, that threat is relatively low, but it's not zero. So we'll keep an eye on these storms as they develop heading into tomorrow morning. Yesterday started at 39, made it up to 68, well above our averages, but not close to records. Not there yet, and we're not going to be near any records today or tomorrow, but we are quite mild. Take a look, 57 Iola, 59 Parsons, 61 Chautauqua, Miami, 58 Neosho, Carthage, and we are currently sitting at 59 in Joplin right now with those mostly cloudy skies from 7th and range line. Feels like 59, wind to south-southeast at 9. We've got this interesting temperature fluctuation, and we're actually not going to do a lot of cooling as we head into this evening. Here's a look at what we're tracking. Of course, we got the mostly cloudy skies today. Wind gusts continuing to increase through today and into tonight, and then we are watching those thunderstorms tomorrow morning. Again, that some could be strong to severe. We'll talk more about those thunderstorm chances and what happens after the storms here in just a few minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Tributes continue to pour in for former President Jimmy Carter, who is now in end-of-life care. He spent President's Day resting at home with his wife, Rosalind, and family by his side. The former pastor of the church where Carter taught Sunday school for decades spoke to CBS News after visiting with the Carters. He says Carter is at peace and is still thinking of others, offering his prayers to the country instead of asking others to pray for him. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, 1 year since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, several European nations are still dealing with the mass exodus of Ukrainians. And later, it's Mardi Gras, and we're making beignets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. President Biden is in Warsaw meeting with Poland's president on a mission to firm up support for Ukraine, a day after his unannounced visit to the war-ravaged nation. Now, the president's trip is meant to send a message to Russian President Vladimir Putin that Western resolve has not weakened nearly a year into the war. But Putin is showing no signs of backing down. During his address to the nation today, he blamed the West for starting the war and announced that Moscow is suspending its participation in the New START Treaty, which is the last remaining nuclear arms control pact with the United States. And that country is one of several in Europe now dealing with a mass exodus of Ukrainians fleeing the war. Charlie D'Agata was there as people fled. 1 year later, he's catching up with some of those who were forced to leave their homes.
Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine sparked the biggest and fastest mass exodus since World War II. 8 million people fled the country, according to UN figures, while another 8 million escaped to safer places within Ukraine. The predictions were dire. Kyiv would fall within 3 days, the entire country within weeks. Trains at the central station overflowed for days. The speed of the invasion triggered a mass panic, with hundreds of thousands of people fleeing for their very lives. Today, this is a fully functioning train station, and many of those who have left have returned, feeling it's safe enough to come home. One of the first missiles to pierce the heart of the capital tore a hole in a high-rise apartment building. We rushed out to report on it. Boom. To witness the damage to people and property. We returned to see a lot of the damage repaired and spoke to Tatiana Leszczuk, who could have lost a lot more than her apartment.
You have a 10-year-old daughter, and this is her room. Your daughter's room.
Yes,
10 years old.
10 years old.
And what happened here?
This room was destroyed completely. Yes, completely.
She described how her daughter got up early that morning and was in the hall. The blast forced the carpet over their heads, she said, protecting them from glass and debris.
You were very lucky.
Yes.
Or blessed.
I think that would bless us, yes.
She and her family fled to Bulgaria shortly after and have since returned, although they now live in a third-floor apartment. The suburb of Bucha was particularly hard hit, and when Russian forces advanced, Eugene Lopatin's family was trapped.
Some people who were trying to escape in the first days, they were just killed inside their cars, and we were terrified.
Risking it on foot with a 7-year-old daughter and an 8-month-old baby son wasn't an option either.
The bridge between Bucha and Kiev, it was destroyed, and there was no way to escape to Kiev.
They finally made a run for it in a convoy with friends and made it to the Polish border. The men weren't allowed to leave. Families embraced one another, some for the last time. Eugene has since been reunited with his family, but he'll never forget what he told his daughter that day he said goodbye.
That I love her and we will see each other someday and everything will be okay, don't worry. And I told her that light always beats the darkness. So that were my words.
Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, Kyiv.
Eugene says he immediately volunteered to fight, but he eventually returned to his neighborhood in Bucha after it was liberated, where he joined UNICEF to help local children. He said it made it easier when he was missing his own family. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
We're whipping up a New Orleans favorite just in time for Mardi Gras. Keep your shirt on. I'll be back to show you in a minute.
We're tracking strong to severe thunderstorms moving into the area tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that and what's coming up after that when we come back. Well, we are tracking strong to severe thunderstorm chances as we head into our Wednesday morning. Today hasn't been too bad. We've had some gusty winds, mostly cloudy skies, but in the next several hours, that is going to begin to change. And that's why we do now have an alert day for us for tomorrow morning for those strong to severe thunderstorm chances between roughly 5 and 9 a.m. across the area. So let's take a look at what exactly we're expecting as we head into the morning. So we'll get into early overnight, say between 1 and 3 a.m. Could see a stray shower or two, maybe a rumble of thunder out there. Check out these temperatures, though. We're going to talk more about that as well. We're talking 3 a.m. in February, and we've got temperatures in the mid-60s across the region. As we go through the morning, we're going to start to see a line of showers and thunderstorms develop across southeastern Kansas, and that line will start to advance eastward. And as it does so, it's going to run into an environment that is going to be somewhat favorable for strong to severe thunderstorms. Now, I know it's February, it's a little bit strange, and this also the timing of this is a little bit off for severe weather in our area, but this is the setup that we are looking at. And here's what we're looking at come 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll have several thunderstorms out there. We're looking at the possibility of a line of thunderstorms rolling through the area. And with these comes the threat primarily for damaging straight line winds. We head into 8 o'clock in the morning. You can see that line of thunderstorms really getting itself together as it rolls out of southeast Kansas and into southwest Missouri. By 9, still dealing with the back end of that system and those thunderstorms. So a few more rumbles of thunder, some heavy rain still possible. By the time we reach noon, we're on the trailing edge. We may get some additional showers around the noon hour, maybe another rumble of thunder or two, but we'll be done with the main thunderstorm threats. So that's why I was saying somewhat unusual for this area. We typically get severe weather, first off, later in March, and second off, it's usually later in the day, not so early in the morning, but this is a little bit of a toss-up for us. Also, take a look at temperatures even following the storms. They don't begin to drop until we head into early Thursday morning. So our low tomorrow night is not going to be hit until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but you can see what temperatures are going to do on the backside of all this as they get back down into the 30s. So you can see where the rain chances will really start to ramp up as we head into the late night and overnight hours, and just about everybody about the same timing for those thunderstorm chances with this line as it begins to roll through, with the peak being right between 5 and 9 a.m. across the region. So here's what we're looking at. We've got an elevated risk for strong to severe thunderstorms for those in the yellow here. And again, we're talking primary risk is damaging straight line winds with these storms. However, the environment will be favorable. An isolated tornado or two can't be ruled out. That overall threat right now is pretty low for tornadoes, but it's not zero. So as we go into the morning tomorrow, we'll keep a close eye on this for you and bring you any alerts or watches or warnings that may come up. And that's the one side here is these should be starting right as the KOAM morning news goes on. So we'll be here on the air tracking them for you. Right now, 32nd in range line, mostly cloudy skies, same at 7th in range line, sitting at 59 in Joplin with the south-southeast breeze at about 9 miles an hour. Quick look at temperatures around the region. At 55, Fort Scott, 57, Pittsburgh, 61, Chetopa, Miami, and 58, Neosho and Carthage. As we head to the afternoon, still looking at a high of 65, still some wind gusts out there, up to about 20 miles an hour. And as we head into this evening, we've upped our low temperature a little bit. We're looking to hit maybe 60. And that's going to be as cool as it gets, and we will remain breezy as we go through the overnight hours. Quick look at the 7-day, up to 68 tomorrow. We got the alert day for those morning storms, down to 34. We stay chilly Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, back up to 60 by Sunday with some rain chances in there, and then cool again by next Monday, down to 46, and maybe some rain, light wintry mix out there. So a lot going on over the next few days, but tomorrow morning is our primary focus right now as we're looking at that threat for strong to severe thunderstorms across the area. So Tanya, you and I will be here tomorrow morning, and we'll keep a close eye on this as it rolls through.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep an eye on it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Doug will have the latest information too at 5, 6, 9, and 10 tonight.
Seems like it's ever changing for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making Mardi Gras beignets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Today is Mardi Gras, and last night revelers celebrated Lundi Gras in New Orleans. Many people took to the streets to watch the Crew of Orpheus parade. Now, the Crew of Orpheus was founded in 1993 by a group including Harry Connick Jr., Harry Connick Sr., and Captain Sonny Bory. The crew says it is an organization open to all men and women of good character and spirited personality. Well, in honor of Fat Tuesday, we've got a New Orleans classic to help you celebrate. Howard shows us how to make Mardi Gras beignets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Just in case you haven't looked at your calendar, today is Fat Tuesday. For many, that means we can eat anything and everything because all that changes tomorrow since it's Ash Wednesday. So what do you say we indulge ourselves with a Mardi Gras and New Orleans classic that is party perfect? If you guessed we're making beignets, you're right. We start with a 1-pound loaf of frozen bread dough that we've thawed. To that, we knead in a bit of powdered sugar and roll it out on a cutting board. Now, we cut this into 2-inch squares and gently drop them in a deep skillet that has about an inch or so of shortening that we've heated up. Once they're browned on one side, we'll flip them over, and in seconds, they're done. All that's left to do is shake on some powdered sugar, maybe put on a pot of chicory coffee, like they drink in New Orleans, and let the party begin. So don't dilly-dally, go online now as our recipe for Mardi Gras beignets is waiting for you. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fun and festive way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Tasty recipe. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
All right, so for the areas highlighted in yellow tomorrow morning, we've got an elevated risk for strong to severe thunderstorms, and that's why we do have an alert day. Damaging winds look to be the primary threat, but there's a very low-end risk of maybe a tornado or two. We'll keep an eye on that for you through tomorrow morning. Otherwise, up to 68 tomorrow, 42 Thursday, 47 Friday, 49 Saturday, with some showers in there, back to 60 Sunday, and then cool again next Monday at 46.
All right, well, coming up tonight at 5, more than 105,000 people are on the National Transplant waiting list, which is why living donors are critical. Tonight in Health Watch, we meet a Virginia woman with stage 5 kidney failure who found out her husband was truly a perfect match. Plus, an increase in marijuana possession in schools after recreational marijuana passes in Missouri. And local gun shop owner talks about the selling trend currently underway. Join us for those stories and much more tonight on the KOAM News at 5.
All right, of course, Doug will have the latest on tomorrow's storms, 5, 6, 9, and 10 tonight as well.
And we'll have the latest in the morning, too.
Yeah, it'll be happening during our morning show. We'll be here covering it.
All right, thanks for joining us for the KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.